Hello, welcome to this 10th session and final session of our courses of Process Maker. Today's session is going to entirely be dedicated to the part of REST architecture. So we are going to explore interesting things about using these features in the REST architecture. So I wish you could join me, and today's session is going to be about that in general. So let's explore all the aspects of using REST. So REST is an architecture that we are going to, well, in broad terms, I'm going to introduce an endpoint, and with this endpoint, I'm going to cover some resources, and with these resources, I'm going to start working. Okay, so in general, we focus on that. So let's begin with this. The first thing that you have to do is you need to go to a directory here. This directory is going to be var w html, and here you have this is the index. Okay, we're going to start first with the index and footers. Now I'm going to explain. I need to create the files, HTML files, for design reasons. Then I'm going to introduce some code in the index.php, as you can see in this file right now. So in general, we are going to work with that. So let's create first this file. The first one is going to be header.html. Then I'm going to introduce this one. It is the footer.html. Okay, this one, the footer. And I think that with that we are correct. We don't have any dilemma. Okay, so the footer in the header. Okay, so we can start working with it. In the first one, the HTML, I'm going to open this one. Okay, I'm going to open it and introduce some code here. We need to open that code. Okay, and I'm going to introduce here some code. Okay, so at the moment I'm going to enter this. This interesting code. Let me wait more. And this is the code that I will enter. This one. It's the distro file. Then I have this HTML tag. Then all these references. Then I use this body and so on. Okay. I'm going to directly create all these references here. I'm going to introduce this, and I'm going to save it, and then I'm going to introduce the index PHP as color. Then I'm going to explain what they mean, okay? I'm going to introduce some code here. Well, the idea of breaking this part of REST is that we are going to paste some codes and we are going to explain what are they for. Okay? So that's why we do this kind of systematic approach of including some code, pasting it, then we are going to talk about it. Now notice the directory that I'm using. The directory that I'm using is var, then it's HTML. So I'm using this directory. Well, so I'm going to explore with the index here. And in the index, what I require is to enter here another. And this block is the kind to enter another type of block. Okay, I'm going to use this. I'm going to save it. So you have the index PHP. And then I'm going to move here. Well, I'm going to open this and I'm going to see that now I have my first construction. It is this one. Okay, and this construction is going to be done by these files located in this directory, the var www.html, and apart from that, I'm going to enter first the footer, the header. In the header, I'm going to design some resources like this one. The doc type HTML, okay, it's one of the tags. The tags. Then I have another tag, then HTML, and the head, then link, then another link. In these links, I'm going to provide some resources, some icons, and so on. Finally, I'm entering the tag body, and then a division of panel, panel primary. And then I start to introduce other tasks like the reference my process maker, then build your own user interface using the new process maker REST API. Okay? The footer is going to be a closure of all of things that I have in the header, and then I move to the index. In the index, I'm going to have all of this information. The PHP include ones, which will include this header HTML from here. Then, for constructing the form, I'm going to use this form action login PHP. It means that when this happens, it passes, it goes to the login.php. Then I have a method, and this method is post. Then I open a division, and this division is going to be server URL, and then I'm going to input this. Okay, this I'm going to input the text. Then I have another division, the division of word name. Then this, then I'm going to have another division where I include the client ID. I prepare again the types per division, and then I'm going to include the client secret. Then the division is here, include and division. Then you have the include add-on username. Then you have here the input class include the add-on again, and there you have password. Okay, input type password. Okay, and again we close this division, and then we have this collection of tasks. I'm going to close it with this form. Then I'm going to include another document. It's the footer, And with this I am closing my form. And actually that is happening here. I'm closing my form. If you move here, you will notice all of this. The server URL, the workspace, all this construction is the index PHP. And I have worked here. I've worked in this part, in this file, the index PHP, and this is what I do. Okay, do you have any questions for this? Is everything clear? Is everything correct, clear? Do you have any questions? Okay, so this is the first part of REST. Okay, by now I'm not including any detail, but if you see in the form, well, I'm not including the REST detail right now, but if you see the form, this form is going to acquire the client ID, the client secret, and the workspace, and then the URL. So these six credentials are going to be extremely important to start working with them. So, well, I was trying to announce that. I don't know if you have any question, if you would like to ask something. Okay, well, so let's do the lab here. I'm going to show you the lab here. And the lab is going to be this one that coordinated 3. Well, uh, in this lab I need to introduce, and I need to do this lab, the preliminary arrangements. Can we do this lab? We are going to have 15 minutes for this lab, okay? So let's complete this one. Okay, 15 minutes for this lab. Okay, thanks. Okay, hello, thanks. I'm going to move to the next part. Okay, so we were discovering how to use these things. Okay, I'm going now to discuss about a little bit how to use the rest of the. I'm going to move to the next step of our design. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about well, this part. Now um, this part of rest is critical because you're going to discover everything from here. Okay, so you're going to find out many features there. So let's begin with that. I'm going to introduce here. Okay, I'm going to introduce here one of these. Just a moment. Okay. We're going to talk about the next part. So it's going to be executing REST. So I'm going to execute REST here. I'm going to move here to REST only. Okay. And see here. Just a minute. I'm going to move to activities and then here. And I'm going to introduce here a document called execute REST PHP. PHP. Okay. Then I'm going to open this and then I'm going to introduce some code here. So let me introduce that code. Okay, so we are going to copy a lot of codes there, okay? So it is going to take some action from us. So we need to introduce some code. So in this chapter, I'm going to recover some files. So let's begin with that. I'm going to introduce some files. Just a moment. Okay, I'm going to use this loading data. Primary, okay, dynamic from rendering and loading data from process later. I think that this one is correct. Yeah, I'm going to click from here and I'm going to obtain. Now, I'm going to paste it this code and describe it a little bit. You're going to see that it's critically important because this is the main file that we use for process maker. So we will here enter this and save. Okay, so this is the code. What does it mean, this code? The code is the core of REST. Okay, so because I'm going to use a lot of this code, and what does it mean? First, you have a function that it says execute REST, and there you have the URL. Then you have a method, and in the method you are going to obtain a get. Okay, so this get means reading. It's an HTTP request that I use for reading. Then I have data and I can introduce an array and finally an access token. Okay, so in each one, so I'm opening this function and I'm going to open here certain conditions like cur. Okay, cur actually is a library of PHP. It's a library for the name is customer client URL, and with this one I'm going to make some requests. So I have here curl, and this is curl initiates, and then you have this URL. This URL is going to represent an endpoint where I'm going to get access to that information. Then you have curl set option, and I'm going to set up this curl initiation. Okay, because with the client URL, I'm going to be able to get access to this information and observe it. Then I have the cur opt return transfer. These I'm going to apply this method, and if it is true, means that this option is going to be executed. Now I ask here, do I have an access token? If I have, I'm going to set this option. I'm going to use this cur initiation of this client URL, then the cur opt header, and then an array. This array is going to use the access token, and it is in a bearer scheme. Okay, we provide this token. When this token is provided, I'm going to use the method. In this method, I'm going to introduce this method called post. Post means writing, okay, an HTTP method. And then I say cur set opt. This is going to be cur, then cur opt underscore post, and then you have true. When this happens, we move below and it says cur set opt, then we have cur and then cur opt underscore post fields, then you have http underscore field underscore query, then you have data. Okay, then you have the method is going to be put, and then you have cur set opt, then I initiate this URL, then I say cur opt custom request, and then I'm going to introduce this method of put. Then I say cur set opt, then it's cur again, this client URL session, and then I'm going to post some fields, and I'm going to introduce this HTTP build query data and data. We need to set collection of data. Then I have a method, and it's going to be this one, delete. Then it's cur set opt, then we have cur here, cur opt post fields. I'm going to post the fields and introduce this as data. Then cur set opt, cur custom request, and then the method is going to be delete. In this case, I'm offering the possibility to make a request, and then after reading, I'm going to delete my information. Okay. Then after that, I'm going to use this cur response, and it's the cur execution, the execution of the client URL session, and it is going to be this. When this execution happens, this execution means that I have read the material and I have used one of the methods that I need depending on my needs. Then when this happens, I'm going to use here a decoder, and this JSON decode, the only thing that is going to do is going to transfer this response that I have read from an API service. I'm going to transfer it into an array, and then I close the cur session. So the cur, this library allows me to do some HTTP requests. So I can use this protocol to read, to write, and do whatever with my information here. Then I'm going to ask and say ESET in the decoder. If there is an error, I'm going to introduce this message. If not, I'm going to introduce the decoder. So these are things to consider, okay? Okay, I'm going to enter this information. I'm going to enter the login PHP. I'm going to, okay, I created this login PHP, and I'm going to introduce some code here. Okay, I'm going to introduce some code. I'm going to enter all of this. Okay, so here you have this is going to be the login.php. I'm going to say if, and here I'm going to introduce the empty. I want to ask if this global variable for posting is empty. If it is empty, I move to the header and then the location in index.php. If not, it means that I'm going to return to this part, this index.php. If the post, it means the post is going to be everything that I entered in this form. If the post is empty, I'm going to return back to index.php. Then I ask require once execute rest. So this is going to help me to read the information that I require using the curl library. Then I say function get access token. Okay, so I'm going to open this get access token, and I say here parent. I'm going to introduce an array with this condition. Grant type is going to be a password. The scope is going to be all the scopes. The client D and client secret are the clients that we are going to introduce in our form, our index form. Okay. Then you have the username and then the password. Exactly these variables that are going to be stored in the post global variable are going to be here. Okay, are these variables. When that happens, I'm going to move here and say URL equal post, and then I'm going to obtain the URL, then I'm going to obtain the workspace, then the OAuth2, and then the token. Then I say data and then execute rest. I'm going to execute rest, and I'm going to execute this URL, then post. Okay. In executing rest, I'm going to introduce the URL, then the post here, then the parameters that I have introduced here. And from here, I'm going to obtain the access token. So finally, with the access token, it means that I have the key to get access to one of the service API resources of ProcessMaker. These API resources of ProcessMaker are represented as REST endpoints. That's why we use this architecture. I'm going to use an endpoint. I'm going to use this information and explore it. That's why I use a REST endpoint. So this is the access token. I'm going to start the session. Then with this global variable, I'm going to say session URL is going to be the post URL. Then here I am parsing. The workspace here is going to be the post workspace. The session access token is going to be the get access token here. Then the header is going to be the location in list PHP. When everything is correct, we go further to the list.php. Okay, when this happens, we are correct, we are fine. Okay, so well, just that. Okay, so I think, do you have any questions for this? I believe that now it's clear. Um, I believe that this is clear. Is there any question for this? Is it clear? Do you need some important points that you want to ask you from here? Just tell me, let me know. Okay, we can explore further. I wish to know many important topics for you. So this is going to be extremely relevant if you are going to work with this type of structure. Okay. Well, okay. Now, but this is for logging. You know, in the index PHP, I'm going to enter some credentials. And with these credentials, I'm going to be able to get access to some information. But that's why that I use this type of form and is connected with the current file that you see here. Okay? So I'm going to save it. I'm going to uh, I'm going to introduce to list.php. Here, I'm going to introduce here as list.php. Introduce list.php. Okay, and then I'm going to open this file, and my idea of this task is to have the login, and after having the login, I'm going to rescue the list PHP. Okay, I'm going to rescue the list of cases. So that's the idea of using now this exercise. That's why we use this type of exercise um, in this way. Okay, so I use the list PHP, and then I use this type of exercise. Let's begin with that. I'm going to enter here to list PHP. Okay, I'm going to stop for a while this. Then I'm going to move and enter that information, that code. And I'm going to paste it. Okay, so here's the code, and here you have the list PHP. What it means that here you have the PHP, then you have the session start. Okay, then I'm going to ask if there is no session, I go back to index PHP again. So if I don't have a session, I have to move back to this file. Okay, so then I'm going to ask require once rest PHP. This file, as you know, allows me to do the REST study. Okay, so I can start working with REST in that way. Then, if that happens, okay, and here is important. This is the URL, and the URL is going to be this URL that you can see here. Okay, but if you see the direction that I apply here is for cases, because I need to read the cases. So I'm going to receive a list of cases. Session URL slash API slash 1.0 slash then session WS then slash cases. Okay, so I'm constructing the URL, and this is going to point out to the cases because I need to enter to the cases. Then I'm going to enter to case list here. Then you have, in the case list, I'm going to execute REST, and this is going to be the URL here. Then, because I have this URL where I am going to enter to this endpoint, actually this is at the endpoint. This is an endpoint. It's a URL, and it contains information. Okay, It's a direction, it's a URL that contains information. So this URL is going to be an argument here in execute rest. Then I'm going to enter this get. Get means reading the file. I'm going to read the file. I'm going to read the content. Then I'm going to enter this array, but I'm just going to read, so it's going to be empty. Then I'm going to introduce this session access token, this token that I obtained from here. Okay, and finally here I'm going to introduce this REST connection name, PHP include once. Okay, and in here we are going to play a little bit with HTML tags. Okay, but since case list is here in PHP, I'm going to apply all of this. This iteration, case list as case, I++, and then everything is going to be reproduced here. Okay, then table, then division. So we exactly follow that. One thing that I want to point out is, for instance, in this case, the login. You know that we obtain all the parameters, okay? And again, I'm going to execute REST here. I know the URL. The URL is this one, the token. Then I'm going to post. And this method tells me write. Okay? You have to write that. That's the method post. It means that I am going to write something. And the parameters here, I'm going to send for write. In this case, it's different. I'm going to get access to the information of cases, and I need to read them. When I read them, I'm going to add this session as access token. So when I execute REST, I'm going to be able to process all this information, as you can see here. So you're going to find case, app number, app pro title, app task title, they'll previous user, they'll task date, they'll priority, and so on. So you're going to have that information. Okay, so we basically move in that way, and well, just that. Okay. Now, well, the point is that the point is this one, that you need to find, okay, some important things here. Okay, bear in mind that I'm talking here about the key terms: URL, REST execution, and then I'm going to apply a token. The token, what does it mean? The token is going to be that key that allows me to get access to one of the resources of my API. Okay, so that's basically the REST architecture. I'm going to console to external resource. In this case, it's internal because it's process. Okay, so and then I'm going to obtain a token. Same thing that we did before in integrations. We receive that information and we start to work and process that because we are going to receive it in a JSON, and we are going to receive it in a JSON form. Okay, so we need to process that information and start working with that. That's something that you have to bear in mind. Okay, again, I repeat: API keys, and then you have the API, then you have the keys, and so on. Okay, so I think that with that we are full of information. Okay, so login PHP is going to use this method. It uses execute REST, then it uses URL, and the URL is going to represent an endpoint, and a point a place where I'm going to collect that information or enter to that information. Okay, that's something to bear in mind. Then the method allows you to execute REST. It is post in this case because I need to log in, I need to introduce information. And finally, you have the params, the parameters I'm going to introduce, and then again. Okay, so that's something that you have to bear in mind. Okay, so that's the point. The way that I can get access to that. Now, something that you should do is this point. Make the contrast here with the list PHP, as you can see here, and the list PHP is going to be a little bit different because in this one I'm going to obtain from cases from this endpoint. I'm going to obtain that information, and by obtaining that information I'm going to collect this data, and I'm going to treat it. But let's remember, I'm going to read cases because my intention for this file is to read cases. And you can notice there the URL, and then you're going to notice the method. And the method in this case is going to be get. Get means read in the HTTP protocol. So if I'm going to get something, I'm going to read that information, and by reading that, I'm ready to process that information. I'm going to extract all the files, I'm going to extract from all that information, and so on. We are going to conceive a new pattern, we are going to conceive a new idea. Okay, so that's the main point of using this part of conceiving new data, and then I'm going to use an iteration to make the distribution of all of it. I want to distribute it in a group, so that's the way that it works. So let's play a little bit. I'm going to introduce this information. So I'm going to work a little bit here with this one. Okay. Well, okay. So I'm going to introduce some important things, and the first one that I need is I want to recover my client ID and my client secret. I'm going to introduce this HTTP process maker, my domain. Then I'm going to introduce system flow. Okay. Then it's going to be M, then your classic. Then I'm going to enter the 002. Then application. Okay. From here, I'm going to obtain this integration. I'm going to observe this, and I need to obtain this information, the client ID, then the client secret. Then I'm going to and here I'm going to enter some okay, so I'm going to enter here my workspace. It's going to be just a moment. I'm going to enter my URL. Let me introduce that. It's going to be this one, as I knew, process maker, and then the workflow. So I'm going to introduce this and then log in it, and there you have. Now my process maker is populated. Okay, things that I want to remember. If you remember, I mentioned this part of core, client URL. That's the main thing, okay? I'm not going to go to the detail. What does it mean, this or this alternative? Because that part is very relative, okay? It's very relative. Why? Because that's part more of PHP. But imagine that you are going to use Python or you are going to use Java, things are going to change. You are not going to do it exactly the same as you do here. But the main point of this, of using PHP as a backend language, is that I have this library called client URL. And by using this client URL, I'm going to get access to information that I really am going to appreciate. Okay, so that's the main thing that you have to bear in mind. That client URL is going to provide me that information. Okay, and with the client URL, I'm going to have this connection with the HTTP resources that I need to execute the request. The get, the delete, the put, and the post. So the four that I'm going to use. Okay. So in this case, it was read, it was get. It's relative. The execute get file that I created is based on the logic of PHP backend language. But that is not going to be the case. If I'm going to need another case, like for example, if I'm going to find out what is happening with Python conditions are going to be different, but not going to use the same conditions that I used before. So I'm going to play a little bit with that. Okay? Main things, main details, you have to understand that. Okay? So things that I would like to share with you. So it's like, okay, that's my point of view that I can assure you. So do you have any questions for this? Is everything clear? Maybe I can clarify something. Is everything clear? Okay, so it means that we have gone through the most important parts here in Process Maker. And one of the things is this one, no, of using uh, the my process maker inbox. Okay, so I created this part. I think that it looks nice, and this type of REST architecture is very feasible. It's something that you can handle. If you have a novel language, you're going to see that it's fantastic for you. It's going to make easier your life. Okay, so well, that's the main point. Let's move to our lab. Hello, how are you? Fine. Okay, I'm going to continue with the next step. The next step is going to be the construction of the file. Well, okay, yeah. So, let's move on this. I'm going to emphasize on these things. I'm going to enter here to this Ubuntu server that I have. And now it's time to play with the next step. I'm going to reproduce a dynaform. Okay, I'm going to enter a dynaform here. Okay, I'm going to enter the dynaform here, and well, it is just that. So let's begin with that. Okay, I'm going to enter to a file. Just a moment, please. Okay. Okay, so I need to work with black a little bit. Now I'm going to emphasize on something. Okay, I'm going to emphasize on this. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to enter this information. I'm going to search from here. And in here, what I try to do is to introduce some important information. Okay. Okay, we are going to render a dynamo. Okay. So I'm just going to copy and paste a code. It's a very long code. I'm going to create a file called dynaform.php. Dynaform.php. This one. I'm going to open this to get it. Okay. Then I'm going to introduce here some code. Just a moment, please. I'm going to introduce this code of the dynaform. Okay. Well, we don't have time to copy 70 lines of code because it's going to take a lot of time. So I prefer to just copy and that's all. Okay. So for reasons of this work, I'm going just to introduce some information. So just a moment. Okay. I'm going to introduce some code.
Control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, hello everyone. Okay, so I think that I can continue with this. I was thinking about this. Just a moment, I'm going to check something with you. Okay. Well, so we were talking about these two things that I said before. So I'm going to emphasize on this part. Well, I'm going to introduce here something. it's going to be a code. Okay, it's going to be this code, and we're going to make the use of that. Well, so let's begin. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste the code here. I'm going to copy and paste the code. Okay, so I'm going to extract some code here and copy and paste it. Okay, so I'm going in the file that I have created of Dynaform PHP, this one, I'm going to introduce this code, this one. Okay, so let's make some reflections on this. So I'm going to explain very fast for you. This is the PHP code. Okay, so what I try to do here is to explain that you have here the first of all you have here the session start. Then you are going to ask if you have the access token. Then you have a header and the location is going to be index.php. I'm going to include this execute rest.php message, and then I'm going to include here a URL. This is the URL of session, okay, API, this session, and so on, okay. But this session is going to be to the part of steps and to this part. Then in the steps, I'm going to execute the rest, and it's going to be this URL here. Then I'm going to read this as get. I'm going to read the information from steps. Then this array is going to be empty, and finally the session is going to be this one access token. Okay, when that happens, I'm going to create another URL, and this URL is going to be for actually this URL represents endpoints. Okay, so this endpoint is specifically for the number of steps. Okay, for a specific Dynaform, and then I say Dynaform equal rest, and there you have all of this. Okay, I'm going to save this. So I have my two readings of the information, one for steps, the other one for the access token, as you can see here. And by applying that, I'm going to introduce here this code. The first code is going to be PHP include once header HTML. So I'm trying to use that part. Okay, I'm going to include the Dynaform execute first, URL, get, array. Okay, that's fine. And there, in this section first, I'm going to include the Dynaform here. I'm going to include the Dynaform. Then I'm going to include in here the Dynaform title here. Okay, you know that here we are saving some information, Dynaform. And from here I'm going to enter the Dynaform type, the Dyn type. Then I use the form. Then I use a table, and this is going to be the table. All of this. And the width is going to be of 90%. Then I enter here the PHP, and there you have the rows. Okay, in rows I'm going to make the JSON decode here, and there you have the Dynaform, and then the Dynaform content. There it says true. Then I'm going to repeat this iteration. Rows, items, as field. Then I say echo here. Then for I equals 0, I count field minus 1, I plus plus. Then I say if, and then I say is set. I'm going to ask if there is something in the mode, and in this part, I'm going to ask if the mode, if there exists a mode. I'm going to ask here if it's on view mode. If it's on view mode, I'm going to disable. If not, I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to apply here some switches. So the switches are going to be convenient for each one of the cases that I want to emphasize. So the first one is this, the title. So I say title here, okay? Then I copy all this information. Then I say case is the subtitle, and then I copy all this information. Finally, I say text here, and I copy all this information, okay? Then I move to case text area, okay? So I'm going to copy all this information. And finally, I'm going to add here the drop down. So I'm going to leave drop down here, okay? And I'm going to copy all this information. Then I say for each, I'm going to copy all this information, and so on. So I'm going to start making some exceptions for each one of the cases, as you can see here in the code. So I'm going to use these references in those circumstances. Okay, so I use all of these, and there you have. This is the so this is the type of uses. So okay, you have that. That's the main point of all of this. Uh, it's the main point of all of this. So maybe you can use. So you can see that it's a complete code. That the main point of this that if I am applying some execute ref one in reading my steps, then I'm going to introduce to read my Dynaform, and the fact that we are right, we're going to use that information. So it means that if I am going to open here my application, I move here, and then I move here, and there the local here, and I click and I open my application. Okay, I'm going to provide all of this information, flow. Just give me a moment, please. Empty, and we have 7, and there you have. Then I'm going to open this, and you're going to find that now my Dynaform is available. So it means that I can start working with this type of Dynaform. Okay, so I think that with this you can understand my purpose. It's the use of all of these arguments. Okay, so do you have any question? Is everything clear here? I think that yes, now my Dynaform has been rendered, and well, I'm happy with that. And I can go to the next step. Okay, so Um, okay, let's move to the next step, but I think that before moving to that, we are going to have a break of 20 minutes, okay? 20 minutes break, and then we move back. Hello, I am back. How are you? Fine? Okay. Let's move on. Okay. We were discussing about some important things here, and now it's time to complete our application. I'm going to enter some um, files. If we can, I'm going to enter something here. So let's begin with that. Okay, I am going to enter some uh, important information. Um, so let's emphasize on something. Uh, okay, I'm going to enter some information here. Okay, okay. First thing, let's enter this part of loading some data. Okay, and let's you know that I have used this diagram. So I have this diagram right now here. Okay, and in such diagram I have rendered this diagram, and now it's time to add some code. This code is going to be necessary because I'm going to run a case and then I'm going to enter some information. What it means is that I am going to start using some code, and this code is going to represent um, the variables, the values that we have associated with that data. So I'm going to start with that. Okay, I'm going to start with that. Yeah, let me find out for a while this. Okay, I'm going to enter some values. I'm going to enter some values here in Dyna. Okay, so the values are going to be these. Okay, I'm going to enter here value, this one. Okay. Then if that happens, I'm going to enter. Okay. This is going to enter this information, the variable. Then you have I'm going to store those values of those variables by executing REST. I'm going to read it and have the array, and then the session access uh, the session and access token. Okay. Then I am going to enter both things. Okay, the header HTML. Yeah. Okay. Then I'm going to introduce in if set. I'm going to introduce all of this. Okay. I'm going to introduce here all of this. Okay, so I am applying this because I'm going to introduce some values. So in these lines, what I try to say is that the var name, the value of the name, I'm going to call it if I'm going to ask of the keys of this array, and then I'm going to ask for variables if that exists. If that exists, I'm going to, if it's true, I'm going to use this, okay, as an if statement. If not, I'm going to leave it as it is. When this happens, it means that I'm going to obtain all the values. And now let's put all the values inside each one of the cases. The first one is going to be a text. I'm going to enter this value in mode. Okay. Then I say here value. Okay. And then I say here value. Okay. And there you have. Okay, you have mode, the value. Okay. And there you have all of these value. Then this, okay. Then I'm going to move to text area, and in text area I'm going to introduce this, and there you have value. Okay. Then you have the drop down here, and in this one is selected here. Then it goes here with value. Then you have here option. Okay. There you have here value. and then I'm going to enter this as check. Okay, I'm entering this value as check. Then I'm going to enter this. Okay, again, this quotation marks, as you can see here, centering both quotation marks. Okay, in this case, I apply this for the drop down, but in the case of the drop down, my excuses, I confuse it. It's going to be selected. Okay, then I'm going to enter selected. Okay, then you have option value in here, and I say this selected, and there you have. This is going to be selected here in the for each here as radio button. Okay, I'm going to use the case for radio button. Going to be this selected. Then I'm going to enter this the value. Then it's going to be this the option. Okay, then I enter this the value. Then I enter this as check. Then in mode, I'm going to enter this selected. Oh, yeah, selected. Okay. So I'm placing all these values because we are going to use them, all of these. So that's why I place those values. So I'm going to save it. And there you have these kind of values placed in all parts. Okay. So by doing that, what I try to do here is to enter some modifications here. Okay, and now if I move here to activities, I'm going to open here my designer, and I'm going to run a case from here. Let me check the vendor registration. I'm going to assign everything to the admin user. Bear me a moment. The assignment is going to be okay, it's for the administrator. I'm going to save it. Then is this the administrator. Then I have the update based database. It's going to be this administrator. If I move to home here, I'm going to run the case here and use the vendor registration process. I'm going to enter some information here. It's going to be Corral, for instance, so at corral.com. Then this is Corral, and I'm going to submit. It's case 83. Now, if I move now here to my local host and make the refresh, I'm going to make the refresh. Okay, this is one of the references that I have here. But if I move, okay, so I have this file filled in with all these values because I obtained those values from another resource, from another case, okay? So that's why I have these kind of values. So I think that with that we are done in this part, okay? So I am going to continue, okay? I'm going to continue with that. This is the first part about the variables that we use, okay? So now you can complete the lab here. Let's complete this lab, loading data from process maker, okay? 15 minutes for that, 15 minutes. Now I am back, how are you? Fine? Okay, so we found many differences, many important aspects about using process maker in this case. So I'm going to be working for a while with the rest. I'm going to be working with you now with the next part. And this is actually the last part of our work here in Process Maker. After that, I'm going to make a general review of everything that we have seen until now. So I think that with that we are going to be able to close all our session here about this course, the developer course, and actually the sessions that we have taken for process maker training courses. Okay, so let's close this part with our final chapter, and our final chapter is going to be dedicated to save information that we have added in this application. It is the last part. I'm going to search that. Okay, well, I'm going to move again to my virtual machine, and then I'm going to start running there. Okay, going to run here. Okay, so I need to go back to move it back, and well, I'm going to right here. I'm going to open the Dynamo here, and there you have. I'm going to enter this, and there you have. I'm going to enter some action here. Because I'm going to enter some action here. Just a moment. Just a moment, please. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to enter this. Okay, so I'm going to enter this information here. I'm going to paste it. Okay, and this is the action routine. Actually, when I finish this form, okay, I'm going to send in action route case.php. I'm going to send this form is going to be routed. You are going to be routed to the route underscore case.php. Okay, and okay, because of that, you are going to be routed to the next of the following. Well, if this, you're going to receive an action, and it's the route underscore case.php. In this file, what we try to do is to make some routing conditions that all the case is going to follow. So if I'm going to save this and then move to the to create a new file, and this file is going to be this one. The new file is going to be this one, and this is route. Okay, and route case.php. I'm going to enter some information here. Okay, so before that, I'm going to enter here some values. Okay, we put it here as a name. Then you enter here this, and then you have here field. Then you have here the var name. Okay, and then I'm going to enter this and this. That's fine. And well, this actually I'm going to replicate in another of the web controls that I have here in the code, and it's going to be for the text area. So I'm going to introduce in text area in this part. Okay, then I'm going to introduce in drop down here. Okay, and here in radio button. Okay, and I'm going to save this. Okay, I'm going to include this then. Well, I'm going to copy a file here. I'm going to create a file. It is this one. Then you're going to move to activities. Okay. Well, I'm going to copy some code from here. Okay, for the routing case PHP. And in this case, let me continue with that. I'm going to enter some code. Actually, my excuses, the code can be copied from here, but it's not exactly in this page. I'm going to take all of these, then copy and move it in another place. I'm going to move it here and paste. I'm going to save it, and there you have all of these information. When this happens, I'm going to move here and then move it here. Okay, let me search if there is something. Maybe there is no code here. Okay, this is the code. I'm going to move here. Let's see if we have done this code exactly as I wished. Okay, then I have here the name. Okay, then you have the text area here as name. Okay, and finally I'm going to see radio bottom if that one works. I'm going to see. Okay, everything is correct. I'm going to save the route case is going to be different. Okay, I'm going to access here. Okay, that's fine. I wish to know what happened with that. I'm going to obtain my local host. Okay, enter here, then workflow. I'm going to receive something. Okay, admin. This is workflow. I'm going to log in here. Then I'm going to use this as review form. Well, actually, it moved there. Actually, if I'm going to make this review, I'm going to submit the details, and there you have. Okay, now Now you can see that it works. Then I can open this and update, and then I can finish this case by using these techniques. Okay, so this is the part that we have checked how to use all of these files and then the rest and everything. So with this I'm going to close this chapter, and also I'm going to close this of creating your own REST. It means I'm going to close the part of creating your REST application. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with a lab, our final lab of the entire course, and it is this one: saving data and routing. But I think that we can take a little bit this. Okay, let's have this saving data and routing case. We are going to do this lab. 15 minutes, please. Thanks. Hello. How are you? Fine? Well, it has been um, a long travel from all of this, from session 1 to the current session. So I think that we need to consider some points before leaving all of this. So I'm going to emphasize on some important aspects that you have to know, and then we close all of this. Uh, First of all, I'm going to talk about the Chrome. Okay, if you move back here, the Chrome file is this one. The Chrome file is going to be this one. We're going to make here an IP. Okay, the cron is a time-based script. I'm going to run in some locations, and I'm going to make this CV. Okay, the maker workflow engine has been, and in this conference, I'm going to take all of this. I'm going to see all the files, and these are the files. The files are these. Okay. The way that I can run a Chrome is by executing PHP and F. Okay, I'm going to move from that way. From that way, and then I'm going to say F Chrome. Okay, then I'm going to enter this. Okay, and with this, from this directory means that I'm going to execute the Chrome. Okay. Now, if I want to execute the cron in some basis, on a daily basis, or it depends on your requirements. So I'm going to use this, okay? I'm going to use a file called contact, and well, this file is going to be found in etc from this directory. So if I want some specific execution here, and I'm going to open with Gedit, we are going to find all of this information that you can see. Okay, so these commands represent some of the types of executions that we have in Process Maker. Okay, for instance, I'm going I'm going to execute this command each 10 minutes. It doesn't matter the hour, the day of the month, the month or the day of the week, okay? But my user is going to be root, the one who is going to execute this. And there you have. With that, I'm going to be executing the cron each and minute. This is the cron tab, okay? Now, I want to talk about something more, okay? And it is about using some code here, and it is going to be this one. It will be PHP process maker workspace backup. Okay, then here I'm going to enter the file that I need. For instance, since it is Linux, I'm going to make some examples in Linux. I want to make the backup for the workflow. This is with this command I am going to do a backup of my workspace. So I can click on enter. Okay, that command I'm going to use here the okay, this is for Windows. Okay, and I want to make here the name workflow backup. Yeah, I'm going to introduce here the workspace backup. This is the workspace that I need to make the backup, and this is the name of the file. Okay. Okay. Let me check that. Okay. Need to use this. The process maker here. Then we have a workspace. Then okay, it's space backup. Then I have the workflow. Okay, that's fine. Let me see here. Okay. Oh, my excuses. I should apply this from here, not from the engine. Okay. I'm going to introduce this. This one. Then we have process maker. And well, in here I'm going to introduce this as PHP process maker. Then I'm going to make here workspace, backup. Then you have here the workflow. And there you have. I have backup this file in this direction, shared backups. I'm going to move here. Share, then here in backups, and here you can find the file that we have backup here. So this is one of the things that we can use here. And well, you can explore even in your course. You're going to explore many of these features. The upgrading of process maker, the backing up and restoring workspaces. Okay. So with me, I think that everything is clear. So I wish to know if you have any question for this, or should we move to the next step? Okay, so let's do this lab, the Chrome execution scheduling. I'm going to give you 15 minutes for this lab, okay? Thanks. Okay, hello, how are you? Fine, thanks. Well, I think that we can start closing everything, a brief review. So, well, I'm not going to emphasize on showing you the screens. Instead of that, I'm going to start proposing to show you um, the files that we have opened and explain each one of them. Okay, we start first with the header and the footer. Both of these files are going to be HTML scripts that allow me to work with that. Okay, so I have both the scripts, the header and the footer. Okay. Then I have the index, and the index is this one. We are going to include here the HTML, and then I'm going to include here the footer HTML. So both of them are going to be these inclusions, HTML, and the other is going to be the footer HTML. All of that. Then you have this form, and this form is going to have this action, login.php, and the method that I use is the post. And if you remember, the index for the index form was the index that allowed me to use to integrate all my information in one Dyna form. So in one form, and I'm going to introduce there the credentials for an access token. Then I created this file in the execute rest. What it means this file? First of all, I'm going to create this function execute rest. In execute rest, I'm going to need um, four of these arguments. The first one is a URL. Then I have the method which is equal to get. Get in HTTP means reading. Then I have data here, and this is for an array, and it's empty. Then you have the access token here, and the access token is going to be empty. Okay, so I have the execute rest, and then you have your L, the method, then the method equals to get, then you have data equals array, and then you have the access token. Then you have a curve here, exactly, and then you have the curve message, and then you have the URL. So that's the main point.